Perspective on Florida Gateway College Television is sponsored by Potash Corp of White Springs. Potash Corp, helping nature provide.
Hello everyone and welcome to Perspective. This is a public affairs presentation of Florida Gateway College. My name is Mike McKee and my guest on the program today is Linda Williams. She is the coordinator of the Dual Enrollment program here at Florida Gateway College. We're going to talk to you about dual enrollment and how you are eligible to participate, how old you have to be, all the things that a dual enrollment student needs to know. We'll do that when we come back. Don't go away.
Maybe he's really focused.
Hey, Michael. Maybe he likes spinning the wheels.
Maybe he just loves trucks.
Maybe he's just being a boy.
Preoccupation with objects is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
Perspective on Florida Gateway College Television. My guest on the program is Linda Williams. She is the coordinator of the Dual Enrollment program here at Florida Gateway College. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Linda, now we're going to assume that people don't know what dual enrollment is. What is the program and just I guess what is it?
Okay, dual enrollment actually is early college. Secondary students have an opportunity to take college courses that satisfy their high school requirements in order that they may graduate. So what they do is they actually, if they're interested, their parents need to determine their readiness, not only academically, but socially, emotionally. We want to be sure that they're ready to come in. And at that point, they will contact their high school guidance counselor, and the guidance counselor will determine eligibility for the program.
So you got to be a good student because you're doing both. You're doing high school classes and you're doing college at the same time.
That's correct.
Now, we've had several instances where kids have, or young people have started dual enrollment in their sophomore year, and they have graduated from college here with a 2-year degree before they graduate from high school. That's pretty cool.
That is correct. Last May, we actually had 60 students that accomplished that. They not only graduated from Florida Gateway College with a 2-year degree or a certificate, but they did that before they even graduated from high school. So that was amazing. We're really proud of them.
And to put this in perspective, your student graduates at 18 from high school. They have also graduated with their 2-year degree. They are now juniors at a university at 18 years. And so they could graduate from college at age 20.
That's correct, and they could have saved a lot of money. Not only our public school students not only are saving money in tuition and lab fee costs, but they also are saving money in textbook costs. So they've got 2 years out of the way, totally free. Our private school and homeschool students also are saving money on tuition and lab fees, although they do pay for their textbooks. But no matter what, they're all saving a lot of money. Now,
if you've got a student that you maybe bought a Bright Futures scholarship for, or you've been saving, this really can save a lot of money and let that money that you've put in a savings account for college education go even further.
That's
because I don't know whether a lot of parents think about it when their children are very young, what college is like, but you know as well as I do, kids want to have their own apartment. Mm-hmm. If they go away to Gainesville or Tallahassee to go to school, they want their own apartment, which means they want the ability to eat out,
right?
To pay for electricity. So all these expenses on top of what the tuition is for a university. This could really be a savings.
That's absolutely right. I wish it was an opportunity that I was able to take advantage of. My daughters did. Matter of fact, my youngest daughter was able to almost earn her AA degree and transfer on to UF into the College of Business, and has since graduated. But she saved an awful lot of money by taking her general education classes that satisfied her high school requirements, as well as the prerequisites that were necessary to get in the program, and those actually counted as her transferable electives.
Now, there are homeschooled kids that can take advantage of this program. How do you know whether a homeschool kid is ready? Do we do some sort of testing of homeschooled kids to find out whether their GPA? Because mom could say, I've got a straight A student at home. You really don't know. So do we test?
Yes, as far as the admission requirements, need to kind of break that down a little bit for the home education, because it's a little bit different. The parent serves as their guidance counselor, their principal, their parent, and they determine whether or not their child is ready. But actually, home education students have to get a letter of compliance from their school district stating that they are in compliance with progressing towards high school graduation. The parents provide the information to the school district. The student has to test. They need to take the post-secondary education readiness test, which we offer here at Florida Gateway College. That's also known as the PERT, or we'll accept scores from the SAT or the ACT. Those home education students do not have to have a GPA for us. They're providing the information that's necessary to the school district. We are accepting the letter from the school district stating they're in compliance, and so therefore we just need test scores, and the parent will sign an articulation agreement with Florida Gateway College, actually agreeing to abide by the dual enrollment regulations and policies.
Now, when you talk about whether a student is ready emotionally, I mean, some kids are more mature. You can tell the level of maturity. This is up to the parent, though, to determine whether they're ready to be, because I mean, we're talking, I guess the average age of a student at Florida Gateway College is 24, and so we've got adults that are taking classes, and many times we've got students that are returning after deciding, after working in the real world, that they want to better themselves and they want a better education. So parents really need to think about that when they decide whether their kid can participate.
Exactly. I never meet with a parent and child without stressing the importance of the parent. We rely heavily on the parent determining that readiness of that child. Again, they might be making straight A's, and that's wonderful. We're happy. It looks like academically they're going to be ready for college, but it's a total picture. We need to be sure that that student holistically is ready for college. And the parent is the best gauge. The guidance counselors know the student, but not as well as the parents, so we rely on them.
Let's talk about, you mentioned that you got to have a 3.0 GPA if you're in any of the schools in Baker, Columbia, Dixie, Gilchrist, or Union counties. And that's for academic programs. That's if a student wants to get an AA degree and then move on to a Bachelor's of Arts or Bachelor of Science. But certificate programs have different GPA requirements. Talk about that, and what type of programs are available for kids who are not going to a university?
Okay. The 3.0 GPA is for those students, like you said, that are on an AA track, which means Associate in Arts, to transfer to a university. But we also offer Associate in Science programs here at Florida Gateway College. Our Physical Therapy Assistant program is an Associate in Science. Our Nursing program is an Associate in Science. We've got a whole lot of programs that are available. Those students, the AS and the AA, both have to have a 3.0 GPA. Our vocational programs, which would be maybe heating and air conditioning, our applied welding program, our cosmetology program, any of those programs are considered vocational certificates, and those are the programs that lead to industry certification or licensure. Those are the only programs that that dual enrollment students may participate in. They have to lead to industry certification or licensure. Even though our programs of study might list more, we have a specific programs of study specifically for those students. And we've had several students that have graduated from those certificate programs. In the number of 60 that I told you last May that graduated, several were coming from those certificate programs, and they're able to go right into the workforce.
We'll talk about, there's a requirement for law enforcement, though, that you have to be a certain age to to go into that program.
Exactly, and that program would be for somebody that would be a senior, because they have to be 19 years old to enter the program. So if you've got a student in their spring semester and they're 19 years old, they could actually apply to that program. There is a separate application process involved for that. They can be a dual enrollment student, but they also have to apply. It is a limited access program.
Now I wanted to mention, this is a pretty big program. How many kids are in this right now?
We just got our numbers out for the fall, actually a comparison over from last fall, and we have 847 students right now that are in the program that are coming from the 5 counties we serve, as well as we've got 51 of the students in the program that are home education students. So we have a specific articulation agreement with each and every one of those parents. That's a 21% increase over last fall, so our numbers are up for that.
A testament to your leadership in this program that the numbers have increased by 21%. Now we weren't going to mention this, but I'm going to mention we do have students from Suwannee County. We do probably have kids from Hamilton County as well that are part of this number. They are supposed to be served by North Florida Community College in Madison, but as a lot of our students that live in Gilchrist County go to Santa Fe, a lot of these students closer to come to Lake City than it is to travel to Madison. And I don't want to brag, but there's more to do here than there is in Madison,
and
Florida.
those students that are coming out of district from Suwannee or Hamilton, they have to have a letter of release from North Florida and to allow them to come, and there has to be a reason why they're coming here. But yeah, they actually are in North Florida Community College's service district, so that's why the letter of release is necessary.
Well, I don't want to well, I do want to mention this. How is it too early in your middle school years to be thinking about doing good grades to get into this program?
No, Mike. We actually are going to the middle schools and we're talking to those students and providing them the information. There's a lot of people that do not realize the opportunity that dual enrollment affords. So we're giving out handouts so that the students can take that home, share it with their parents, keep it as a reference, talk about it, see if it might be an option that they might want to do. It's never too early to start thinking about it. They need to be thinking about that at that point, because in order to come into the program, they have to have that high school GPA, and if they don't have a 3.0 GPA by 9th grade, they're not going to be able to get in the program.
So the earlier you can do well in school, I mean, even in the elementary school, the student should be developing study skills and things that can help them along in their middle school years. I was looking at some statistics. You've got, this is kind of everything you want to know about dual enrollment on 2 pages. I was reading here that 90% of dual enrollment students get their certificate.
Yes.
90%, that's a pretty high number.
It is.
For anything, but 90% that are in this program finish.
They do.
Do we track them? Are these tracked after university or just our program?
We are constantly tracking. We're tracking right now. So a lot of the school districts want to know what happened to their students. I know some of the school districts were talking about this at the last articulation agreement with our admissions, director of admissions office, and the people in place that are able to help provide these numbers through our IT contacts. We are able to determine that, in fact, we have a high completion rate.
Yeah, it's like going into a program where you know you're going to get a job. It's that way. So if you know you're going to graduate and get a degree, either a certificate or completed AA degree, and it's 90%, why wouldn't you go into something like this?
Yeah, and I do want to mention that in order for this to happen, there's a lot of people that are surrounding the student. They've got the support, of their family. A lot of them are doing extracurricular activities. They're involved in leadership positions at their schools. They're not just doing dual enrollment. They're doing a lot more than that. So there's a lot of people that are encouraging them, and it's allowing them to persevere and finish.
Well, if being a parent who's had 2 kids that went through the program, how difficult is it? Because the coursework, a lot of people think a community college or a 2-year school doesn't challenge students. But I've had people that have sent their kids here and have looked at the homework that they take home, and we challenge as much as the first 2 years at a university. So it's not like you're coming into the 2-year school and you're not I mean, it's really, because you've been through it, so you've helped with homework.
I definitely have, and I actually attended here as a student myself back in the 70s, and the general education coursework that I took here prepared me for the University of Florida. My husband also is an alumni from, at that time, Lake City Community College, and there's just a ton of people that I talk to that say that they're so happy they had the experience here. It prepared them from high school in order to you know, actually get the general education classes out of the way. They got a chance to connect to their instructors here on our campus because the class size is small. And they were doing the same exact work as those students that traveled off to, you know, out of state or wherever they went. We were completing the same work and were able to live at home and keep our expenses down, and then move on and be a junior at the university level. Now, I do want to say that our course content is identical. We have a statewide course numbering system. So if you're taking ENC 1101, which is Freshman Comp 1, here the course content is identical at USF, at UNF, at UF, at FSU. So they're getting the same exact courses. It's just they're saving money.
Right, and parents love that. Kids not so much, because they obviously a high school kid wants to get as far away from home, and when you know they want to go to Gainesville or they want to go to Tallahassee or Orlando.
Right.
A lot of our kids are going to Orlando now, because the admissions is so tight at Florida and at FSU that now UCF in Orlando is the largest college outside of Miami-Dade in Miami, the largest college in the state of Florida.
Right.
With over 55,000 students. That's pretty big. Now, I wanted to mention this, and I know that we used to pride ourselves on our students doing better than their counterparts from other community colleges at the four-year schools. And I think we still own that percentage that you come here, you're going to do well at these other schools, because, you know, again, this is a great college. We got some. If it's not too early to think about dual enrollment, if you're in school now and you didn't make a deadline in the fall to be enrolled in the fall semester, we do offer dual enrollment for the spring. So I think registration starts in a couple weeks. I mean, we're in September now. You've got until November 12th, I believe.
Yes. We actually just got everybody settled into their fall classes, so I want to just mention that anybody that's interested in coming in as a new student for the spring semester, you actually need to have your application submitted by November 10th. That's the deadline for the applications to come in as a new student. So that means that the student needs to have met with their guidance counselor. They need to have tested by that time. Again, we offer the PERT here on our campus in our testing center in Building 17, but you would need to schedule testing here if you don't already have ACT or SAT scores. Again, we'll use any of those scores, but you will need to test in 3 different categories. One is reading, the other is writing, and the other is math. Now, there is one way that we are able to allow some students to start if they haven't completed Algebra 2 yet. They can test in the reading and writing, and then we'll allow them to take up to 4 classes before they have to take the math section of the PERT. If they have not completed Algebra 2, more than likely they won't pass the math, so we don't ask them to take that until they've at least get started with their first couple of classes. But November the 10th is a big day. They want to be sure that they have their test scores, they've met with their guidance counselor, and we have the application on file to turn into the admissions office. For the home education parents, that date's important as well, but in that case you would just need to be sure that your son or daughter has tested and you have test scores as well as the letter of compliance from your school district, and have made an appointment with the dual enrollment office so we could be sure that the student's admitted by November 10th.
Which is first? Do you go to see your counselor at the high school to see if, you know, I want to know if I'm a candidate to be a dual enrollment? Is that where you first start? Yeah.
I'm going to just back it up even a little further. The student and parent need to have a really serious discussion about whether they're ready or not. And if they feel like they can do this, then the student needs to see their guidance counselor at the high school. The guidance counselor will verify their GPA to see if they are in fact eligible. And on the high school campuses, they actually administer the PERT themselves. so the student won't have to leave their high school campus if they do attend a public high school. The private high schools and the home education students will need to test on our campus.
Okay, so you need to make appointments that in that case, then the parent needs to take their child to your office and,
Right.
and kind of sit down and go over some of these things and then take the test and then go from there. But it's not too early. We're talking September now, but get all of your stuff ready to go. So, sometimes students at this age like to procrastinate, and they put it off and put it off and put it off, and then all of a sudden you've got a deadline, and now everything is a rush to get everything
Right.
done. You've got time. Stop by the guidance counselor at your school, or if you're homeschooled, stop by here. I'll make an appointment at the dual enrollment office here in Building 14, correct?
Building 15.
Building 15,
15,
okay.
the High School Coordination Center, right next to the registrar's office.
Okay, now I want to talk about some other dates. Understand that our spring break is going to be different than a lot of schools.
Right.
Columbia, I think, is different. Our spring break is March 11th through the 18th, which is a little earlier. I think most schools are closer to Easter.
Exactly.
With their spring break, so that's different. So you've got to understand that you may be on your spring break doing dual enrollment.
Exactly.
And of course, when we're on spring break, you're still in high school. So those are some considerations. Classes begin on January 7th for the spring term.
That's right.
You also are looking at registration for Summer A, which is the term that starts in May, like the second week in May.
Right, the middle of May.
And that deadline, or that summer registration period, starts the 6th. So once you get your paperwork done, that's it. You're in the program. You just have to keep. Is there a procedure to do once you're in the program?
Yeah, I want to clarify the application process as opposed to the registration. People use those interchangeably, but they're really two different things. The application is a one-time completion of paperwork where we get the student admitted into the program, showing that they've qualified and they're in the system. Registration actually is going to be happening on November the 12th. Which will be 2 days after the deadline, and we have a very, very short window of time to get students registered before the Christmas holidays. Spring registration is super busy because we've got the middle of November to the middle of December to get all the students in their classes. We're closed the last couple of weeks of December, and then students come back on January the 7th and they're ready to go. So we do have a drop add period that first week. But basically the regular registration period is only a month, the middle of November to the middle of December, and we really need for all students to have met with their guidance counselor to fill out the registration form, which is where the guidance counselor initiates the process of completing the form, listing the courses the student needs to have to graduate from high school. What they're doing is they're actually selecting our college courses that work for both. They satisfy the high school requirement, plus they're moving the student along on their college career pathway.
And students, a lot of our courses are offered online, but a lot of our courses are offered on campus. So you get to come to campus. I know David Herner does a lot of dual enrollment students in his English, both English classes that he teaches out here, and it's in this facility that we tape the program, a beautiful 39,000 square foot library, a media center. There's a cafe here. I mean, it's really gives you a college experience that you don't get at a high school, and that's part of getting a college education is the college experience here on our campus. And
Right.
the guidance counselors can, if you're better at doing online stuff, then they may put you into online programs. If you're better in the classroom and like to interact with fellow students, I know there's a lot of collaborative learning that goes on at FGC, and we want them to participate in that.
Exactly. And can I say something
Sure.
with that? Along with that, we also have the courses that are offered on the high school campuses. A lot of our high schools offer college courses on their own campus where their instructors are credentialed through Florida Gateway College to teach the classes there. Baker County is an example. They've got a lot of students that are taking general education classes right there. They don't even have to come to campus, and they control the scheduling of when that course is. One thing about that is that the cost of dual enrollment courses is zero when it's taught at the high school campus.
Well, and we were talking before we came on the program today. We're talking about transportation. Suwannee Valley Transit Authority now is running a bus from Suwannee County, from Live Oak, and making many stops to our campus. And it goes at 4:30 when our school is out and goes back that same route. So you can catch the bus. Baker County does the same thing. They have a thing called Bobcat Express that brings kids over from McClenny and Glen St. Mary. And so, I mean, there's some transportation opportunities as well for those. If you don't have the wherewithal to drive to campus, then you know, we have transportation avenues that we can help you with as well. If you'd like more information on dual enrollment, you can contact the dual enrollment office, and that number is
386-754-4443.
Or if you want any information about anything that we do here at Florida Gateway College, you can log on to the college website. Linda, thank you so much for being on the program. We wish you the best. We know you'll be leaving us soon, and we hope that your retirement and your grandkids will keep you busy in your retirement. Thanks again for all you've done for FGC.
Thank you. Glad to be a part of this great program.
Thank you for watching Perspective here on Florida Gateway College Television. Until next time, I'm Mike McKee. We'll see you.